Here, over here.
Where are we again, please?
Yud base.
In the Shulchan Aruch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yud base. Shulchan Aruch Yud base. Here. Here's one I printed again. I wasn't sure if you got it. Yud base. Yud base. Big print if anyone wants. So mitzvah lo yimil ba'al din betchila adinat and racing by pshara. Do you want din or do you want pshara? Yud base. If you want a big print. Yeah. Even lots of pshara, I said name pshara. If they want pshara, do pshara. Kshem shemuzah shalei lahates adin, kach muzah shalei yita pshara. Just like it's also to be mata adin. Just like it's also. If I tell you there's a beis din and they knew Reuben's chayiv and he said Shimon's chayiv. They'll tell me there's beis din Rishayim, like that's not beis din, they're Galovim. Also with pshara, if they give too much of a pshara, it's just as bad as being as lying with the din. There's no difference. You can't cheat with pshara either. You can't exaggerate the pshara. Same issa. Shalayata pshara le'achad yosim mechavere. Recall beis shreis pshara tamin how is a meshubach. We saw that it's a Rambam shita. So medvar mamurim kaidin gamadin. When can you do pshara kaidin gamadin? Alpha pisha shomet direm yodei lehechan adin noita. Even though they've heard the din, they know where it's going. Mitzvah lifsoy. It's still a mitzvah to split up and do pshara. Aval achasha gamadin after gamadin. What's achad gamadin? Va'amar ish ploy niyata zakai ish ploy niyata chayev. Once the basin is set, ish ploy niyata zakai ish ploy niyata chayev. Einu shaylas pshara b'neim. It's no longer applicable to do pshara. Too late. It's too late. So we saw this, right? Someone else can do pshara. Shalai b'moishav dina kavula mishpat. Someone else could do pshara outside beis din. Im chai beis in shvua. But if beis was b'chai v'shvua, lechem hem u'shai beis lasses pshara b'neim k'dei lipatem ma'in shvua. In order to stop someone being over the issa shvua, you could do a pshara, even after the din. So basically say Reuben's chayiv shvua, but then they can say, you know what, let's do a pshara instead of taking a shvua. To stop someone taking a shvua sheker.
Even after Gemara.
Yeah, even after Gemara did. Says the Ramah, Beis din can't force you to do lifnim rishos adin. Now, if the din is X, basically can't say, you potter, but pay him anyway. They can't force that. Even if basically thinks that you should pay the guy, the marshal, a gardener came to do your gardening work, right? And he killed all the plants, so you don't have to pay him. But Basin says, you know what, he did all this work, pay him anyway. Pay him. Lifnim rishos adin. You're not chayiv to pay the guy. He killed your trees, right? Whatever he did wrong. You're not chayiv to pay him. Mikra din. Obviously, why is it mikra din? Because in my case, you didn't have das, so that's going to happen. Your das was he's going to help you, he's going to ruin it for you. But lifnim rishos adin. The guy came for 6 months. He's working in your field. Pay him. Lifnim rishos adin. They're not allowed to do that. Ein beis yuchal lochav lekas lifnim rishos adin. You can't force someone to be a tzaddik. Even if you think if it's Roy, says the Ramah v'yesh chalkin. Now let's take a look in Pischei Tshuva over here, v'yesh chalkin. Does anyone remember? Did we see over here the we saw the shach. We saw the shach. Right, we saw the shach. Then we were back and we saw the Torah. Okay. So take a look in the Shach Simon Vav. We didn't see this. Sif Simon Vav. Ein Rishayim Sas Pshara B'neim. After the din, you can't do pshara. Because the Bishul the Gibayim is Sanhedrin Seif Daf Ein Dalid. Near Beinai. Shein Kol Advarim Alon Umrim Elek Shadayim Weitzim Lahat Pshara Kfia Near Beinayim Shalom Edas Ba'alei Adin. when can Beis not do pshara? Beis can't force a pshara. Beis can't say, look, you're chayiv, you're potter, but we're going to force a pshara on you. If the dayanim come along and try and convince you that we're going to make you do a pshara, explain to you why we're doing a pshara. You're really potter, you're really chayiv, but for shalom, he has a point. Be a nice guy. Don't worry, the Eibusher will pay you back. Kifle kiflayim. If my dimlem tiv pshara, mufaisim ma'isam at shehem misratzim limchol echel chaveiroi. If basically convinces them to do pshara till they're willing to be moichol. Oy losses echel chaveiroi dova yidua. Afil achak madin roi la'asais kain. So we have a Shulchan Aruch says you don't do pshara after Gmadin, right? After Gmadin, no pshara. Too late.
So the house from Chaim Briscoe, should you make a pshara or should you do din? He said make a pshara. He said why? Do we close with a boti dinim? He said yes. But not enough of people appreciate what's a pshara.
So the Shulchan Aruch says after Gmadin you can't do pshara. Comes along the Shulchan Gebayim and says you can't force a pshara, but if you convince them to do the pshara, be Michael, do a mitzvah, be Ma'aber Shalom, then you could do that. That's what the Shach brings Shulchan Gebayim, the Shulchan Gebayim. Ubilvad shlo yeh shum tzad achrech b'dova ele piyusim uptuyim. You can't force the guy to do pshara. You can't say, listen, if you don't do pshara, we'll put you in chayrim, we'll fine you, we won't let your kids into school. You can't do that. Ele piyusim uptuyim. You could just tempt them. You could say, it's chos do pshara, shalom, it's such a great thing. You could convince him. You mafias him. V'zui mitzvah gedayla v'avah shalom sheben al chaveiroi. Says the Shach, mitzvah gedayla. Mitzvah gedayla to force this pshara. Not to force the pshara, to try and convince, to encourage. Take a look in the Pischei Tshuva, Siman Ois Daled.
When is for him?
At the moment, I went there Friday, still didn't receive it, so I printed it out.
Still didn't bring the cake. Only came for the cake.
That way we'll make you come back tomorrow.
Doesn't help me.
Says the Pischei Tshuva is Daled. V'am ish pleini, kosav hashach, v'abach kosav, sorry, wrong one.
Pshar b'neim.
Pshar b'neim, yeah, next one, I say.
I got it.
Pshar b'neim, I'm b'aid of b'shach shekosav b'shem shultei giborim, aval imei moedim kiva psharim v'faisim ha'isam, then you can do it. Do a pshara. But I'm b'sefer Brik Yosef, Eis Tes. Brik Yosef is like a big man d'Alma in the whole Choshen Mishpah over here. Shekosav, Olav, Zal, v'gam arav knesset ha'gdoila, kosav v'manigav k'divei riyaz. Okay, aber Barat Tzvi, Barat Mitzrayim, in Egypt, in Eretz Tzvi, in Eretz Yisrael, loy nagu kain. We don't do this Shulchan Gebayim. We don't try and convince a guy to do pshara after we paskend. So the Shach brought the Shulchan Gebayim, says it's a mitzvah gedolah to do pshara, to convince them, with piyus and petuyim, to tempt them. We don't do it. And that's how the Poskim must do, like Kavase, not like the Shulchan Gebayim, not like the Shach. Ma gam loshna Rambam or Maran, because of a Bach. The same deleise lahad the Shulchan Gebayim. Smash from the Rambam. We don't pass like Shulchan Gebayim. Once you got a din, you do the din. You don't start trying to make psharas after. Chaymash loshna Aguda, the Sanhedrin Kolashenai, the gam matum and pikmik al Shulchan Gebayim. Also, the term doesn't like it. V'ayim be'sivisa mishpat. V'yesh cholkin. Take a look at the next Pesach Tshuva. So if you remember, the Ramah said, so we have a b'chaykes, l'chayr, that's the halacha, like the Basra, the basin shouldn't try and convince to do pshara after they come to the din. Leave it out, step aside. You know what the din is? Don't try and convince with pituyim and pituyim to do some type of pshara. Leave it alone. Give them the din. So the Ramah said that you can't force someone to go lift the Mishos Adin v'yesh cholkin. Says the Pesach Tshuva v'yesh cholkin, ein Bach, shedat el halacha v'yesh cholkin. The Bach passes like v'yesh cholkin. that you can make them go lifnim mishus adin. The chayfina lemevel lifnim mishus adin and mechaz biyad lasas shu asher. When do you make someone go lifnim mishus adin? You're right, Yankel, you don't owe Shimon money. You don't owe him money, but go lifnim mishus adin and pay. Pay.
Only if he's rich.
When do you do that? If he's an usher. If he's a rich guy, the rich balabas, you don't owe your kablan money. He botched up the job. You don't owe him, but go lifnim mishus adin and pay him anyway. V'chasav v'chein nogum b'kol beisim b'Yisrael. Lochuf la'asher b'davar roy. You force the usher v'nachan v'afapi she'en adin kach.
So it's not
Roy
pshara.
v'nachan.
It's not a pshara.
Not a pshara. Not a pshara. It's lifnim mishus adin.
It's a steer when they obey. It's not din. How can you say lifnim mishus adin?
It's not din. So we said before the case. Let's say you're a balabas. Gardener or builder comes to do work by you. He botches it up. He kills all your trees. Now you don't have any money. You don't owe him money because you paid him to make your trees, not to kill them all. So mikra din, you didn't have to ask for that. You for sure part for pay. You don't have to pay. Basis says, look, this guy came to you every day for 6 months. He worked for months. Pay the guy something. Epis, pay him. You're right. Mikra din, you're not chayiv. Mikra din, you're potter. Lifnim mishus adin, pay him anyway.
Reb Zusha got money. He bought his wife cloth to make a dress.
Yeah.
She makes the dress, and as the dress is made, she hears from the lady she's making the chasna. She has no dress. So she gives the lady who did it the dress. So Reb Zusha, you have to pay for the work. You never got it. She worked for you. You have to pay her. If the mishus adin again, it's shigit.
So, but here it's a kaifin Isaiah also, right? It's not.
Yeah. They can force him. Can Basin say, listen, you're not chayiv money. We're forcing you to pay anyway. Basin is forcing the guy to pay.
How can you force somebody who's not mechuyev?
They can force. We'll see. Good question.
Hefker, Bezdin Hefker.
Yeah, but he wasn't mechuyev. He wasn't mechuyev.
They can force lifnim mishus adin.
I want your money. Can I force you to give it to me?
You're not Bezdin yet. When you'll be a Bezdin, you could.
I'm a dime mumcha or a mumcha. I'm gibul roy boker into one.
So says the Piskei Tshuva. V'efshad Rabbeinu Yerucham b'shem Rosh Nami lo kama ela be'enu yashir ad puk chazi mayim adava. Okay, Einsham. V'chei mash medas hashach lekaman siman reish nun tes. Okay, v'ayim betum esif kovatalid shekasav dahach kfiyah hayne bedvarm. When it says you can force the guy to go lifnim mishus adin, that doesn't mean you can beat him up or you can put him in cherem. That means you try and force him verbally. Yeah, you should really pay him. It's not right. Your mom is not beseder. Pay the guy. Shaim loy chayiv at laskein. V'mein chashemea at avarian. You tell him you're an avarian. If you don't do it, you're an avarian. You're not really chayiv, but they can, I guess, light him and tell him you're an avarian if you don't. I'm not sure what this means. What does this mean? They tell him, really, you're not chayiv to pay, but if you don't do it, you're an avarian. But he's not chayiv. Well, they light him? How do you understand that? They tell him, you're not chayiv to pay him. Then you're not chayiv. If you don't pay him, you're an avarian.
Well, what's the situation?
Why am I an avarian? I'm not chayiv. You want to be mafayas me, petuyim, and tell me I'm a tzaddik if I do. I'm a rosh if I don't.
What's the situation? If it's a worker, he needs the money. He made a mistake, fair enough. He needs money.
But it's not my problem. Go get a different job. Go work somewhere else. Don't be a plumber if you don't know the work. Don't be a gardener if you can't do it. I have to go now to support you and your family for the days because you don't know how to do gardening. I've got to pay someone else. I also need the money. If you did work for me, you're building my office. I've got to go ahead and hire someone else. I've got to support your family because you don't know how to do something. You botched up the plumbing. Now I've got to hire another plumber, so I've got to pay you anyway. Because Basin likes you. Because Basin thinks that you're a nice guy. You tried hard. Pay the guy anyway. Why is it my fault?
Who said it was your fault?
You wanted me to pay. So says the Piskei Tshuva. Hach the shukaz hach kfi hayne bedvarim. Shalom chayiv at laskein v'im ein chashemet avayin. Aber kol am moedim the ein kaifim b'shaitin b'nidoi. You can't put the guy in nidoi. You can't beat him up. Shaitin means like with sticks. You can't beat him up if he doesn't go lifnim mishos adin. V'chadayme kevon the ein shos adin kach. You can't force him. You can't beat him up. Put him in chayrim. Your mom is a ganef. Basin's a ganef if they got to have to force a guy to pay. Mati Yeshlem the Gamarosh Maidel Zeh, Ben Kamachlaikis Kal. So he wants to say that also the Rosh is mighty to this, there's no Machlaikas. The Kfiyah that he says the Fiyah the Pesach Tshuva, the Kfiyah is Bedibur, but not B'Shaitim or B'Nidoy. That everyone's way that you can do. You can always force the Fiyah the Pesach Tshuva, the Fiyah who's he quoting the Tumim. The Fiyah the Tumim you can always force B'Milim. So you got two sheeters first. So now we've got two sheeters. Either the first sheet is that you can force with force mamish. Second sheet is only b'dibur. Yeah, what?
This is something basic.
That what?
Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention this at all. Right?
We need the Ramah says. The Ramah brings it out.
The Ramah brings it, but not the same way. It doesn't finish
Yeah, no, it's the Ramah. The Shulchan doesn't talk about it as well. Ein beis yichayim lochav likanis lefnim mishazadin. Ramah.
No, it's after Gemar Din you can't do anything.
Oh.
That's what Shulchan Aruch says.
Right. Shulchan Aruch is talking about the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah is two totally different sugyas here. Shulchan Aruch is talking about lachag Gemar Din, can you do a pshara? The Ramah is showing in a totally different sugya now. None do with pshara.
No, it is a pshara.
This is not pshara. This is lefnim mishazadin.
It's a fourth pshara.
No, but it's a different sugya. One is called pshara. Can we make you do pshara? There's halachas of pshara. Pshara is at shlish. Here it's nothing to do with shlish. It's nothing to do with be nice to the guy. We'll pay half. Here it's basically wants to say pay the whole thing. Lifnim shazadin yichayev. L'moshel, you're fighting over a seat in the base Knesset, right? Mikra, then it's mine. You can't get it. But lifnim shazadin, they say give it to him anyway. It's not pshara. I lose. They say give him the seat. Get out of there. It's yours, Mikra Din. But since you weren't there for 3 weeks in a row, so give it to him. I don't know. Whatever the case is, you got to. They say lifnim shazadin, you lose completely.
It's not din. It's not what
It's not din. It's lifnim shazadin. They can make you do something lifnim shazadin. Not din. Not din and not pshara.
Seems like it is then.
Well,
No, it's not din. They're saying you're not chayiv to pay him.
But
You're totally
They're making
potter.
you.
They're making you pay. You're navarni if you don't pay. Baruch Hashem yesh cholkin. Take a look. Let's go further. V'chein kasav v'tshuva shvus Yaakov Simon Kuf Samches v'dloik cheshuva Semach Tzedek. The maskal locha. The koifin al dei shamta. V'zeh eino. He says you could even use you could force someone to go to Fimishas then even al dei shamta, which is nidli, right? I'm b'tshuvas chasam soifer chelak Yudalet soif Simon Reish Lamates. Hiskisham divriyat Semach Tzedek. Umash maktzah shehiskim umayayin sham. So the chasam soifer is masking with Semach Tzedek that you can even use shamta. V'ayim b'tshuvas shev Yaakov kosav al anin sham. D'mashu v'otzer ravecha l'chayv ha'beisim mishum lifnim rishos adin v'afil lo koif al pi divrei abak shkosav l'ayim b'beisim b'chol beisim lochav la'asis dovo roi v'nachon ein daiti maskemes imoy klal. So now we've got the shita here of the Shev Yaakov. It says he totally disagrees with this shita. You can't be mechayev. Lifnim rishos adin chad or why? Dabach kuf ele kosav elekim kach ele ba'asher. If you remember originally the Bach only was talking about an Asher. You can only force an Asher to go to Lifnim Rishos Adin. You can't force a regular guy to Lifnim Rishos Adin. What's an Asher? Who's an Asher? You can't force a regular guy to go to Lifnim Rishos Adin because the Bach only spoke about an Asher. V'oid alei Ramah hetik kol minhagim. The Ramah brings all the minhagim, and he doesn't say it. V'makom sheyesh minhag kasav v'chein noegin. He doesn't say that's the minhag. But can't have shnei deyas. The Ramah brings day deyas. Deya echad b'stam v'achar yesh cholkin. And here's the famous klal. He brings the first deya and then yesh cholkin v'yidua. Heicha shekosav ken der rishaynu ikar. When the Ramah brings two opinions, the first opinion is always the ikar. Okay, so we have the Ramah who says who doesn't hold like the yesh cholkin. So you got the Bach that holds like the yesh cholkin, but that's only when he's a asher. And the Ramah doesn't say Yesh Chalkin. The Ramah says brings Yesh Chalkin as the second day. So the Ikku is always the first day in the Ramah.
So that's the such from the Ramah that's only Yikoven also.
not by an Usher. Not, even if he's not an Usher.
So no, the first day in the Ramah is Ein Koifin. The second day is Yesh Chalkin. Ve'ein Beisi D'chayin Lochov Ve'yesh Chalkin that you can't be Koifer. Right?
Yeah.
So the first day is you can't be Koifer. Second day is Yesh Chalkin, you can't be Koifer. The Bach says you can't be kaifa when he's a osher. So he says, first of all, we pass like Bach is only talking about an osher, and the Ramah says that the mashmais of the Ramah is like the first day. For you do a heicha of ken der v'sheino ekav. I feel a bit din gomor. Even here we're not talking about din gomor. We're talking about like some type of nimish a din. It's not din. I feel a bit din gomor. Heicha diesh machlaikas ein mitzi muchzuk. And you got a third reason over here. There's a muchzuk. You can't, even with the din gomor, you can't be mitzi from muchzuk. You need a raya, take from muchzuk, right? Mitzi chavei, right? I love a raya. So how can you be mitzi from this muchzuk over here? This is a big klal in Ul Choshen Mishpat. Listen up. Even if most of the opinions are that the guy's chayiv, the guy who's muchzik in moment could always say kimli. So what's he saying? You got Rov Deis to say you're chayiv. I come to Basin with Benji, right? And Basin says, Rov Deis say I'm chayiv. Pay up. Chaim, Rov Deis say you're chayiv. I can say, guess what? Kimli, I hold. Kimli means I hold. I hold like the meat of the Deis. So you can't be mighty man for me. I'm a muchzik. The muchzik can always say kimli. I pass it like those shitas that say I'm potter and take a hike. I'm not paying. That's the klal. You can never be mighty from someone if you can say kimli.
Yeah, but how does he say Kimberly? Has he got riots?
He says, I paskin like the meat of the Deis. You can't be mighty moment for me. If it's a das yochid, you can't say kimli. If there's one sheeter out there, you can't say, oh, like that sheet, you can't get
mom
for
me. He knows enough to say that.
He's got to have the time Rabani. He's got to pay off.
He has a minority of Dayanim.
Yeah, but he has to say that according to those shitters, which are chop. Fair enough.
Yeah.
He can't just say, there's a shitter.
Yeah, no, he's got to say, I hold like those sheeters that say I'm potter. So Mameli, you can't be kaifa if nimishah sadin because he's first of all he's muchzuk. You got the first day in the Ramah. He can say kimli. Have a nice day. And then he throws in this and he says v'hachu ipcha. Here it's not even his miyad. The right decht pasu the ein kaifa memeka. Here most of the opinions say you can't be kaifa. But perhaps manazeh chas v'shalom. Literally just lebeisin leilech chas v'ars kedei lachaf loisi moment lifnei nimishah sadin. This is a very stark alashon. Chas v'shalom, the basin should go to Mishas Dim as manazeh. Unfortunately, I don't know if the basin holds like this Pischei Tshuva, but that's the Chayei the Psak. Chas v'shalom to go to Mishas Dim because you got some svara that he should pay him.
Even if he's an Osher, it's not totally an Osher or not.
Yeah, even if he's an Osher. If he's an Osher, you got another sheet. You got the Bach. He's an Osher, but still. The Ramah doesn't say la'asher. He can say kimli. He's a muchzuk.
What I'm trying to say
can't pay
is,
him.
when he's somebody who's able to, then maybe you can.
That's what the Bach says. The Bach says you only go lifnei mishas if he's an asher. He doesn't like that at all. Doesn't matter.
Now
We might as well finish the Pischei Tshuva if we're already here. Hold on. Fefsha, where are we? Okay. Al kochos ein daiti klalim aravanal ad kan dvar. Efter the gam hu zal loy kama elef imashin nir das abach loch v'shoyte moed shamta. Av bedvarm levad umayda. Now he throws in his ear. It could be that this shita, right? That chas v'sholom to be kaifer lefnim shosdin. That's only alidei shamta and alidei shaitim. That's only to force him. By the dvarim, even he's moed that you can. So, Lemaskana, L'chayr Basin can. He wants to say that the whole machlekes between the Tzemach Tzedek, Chasu Seifa, and the Shev Yaakov is arguing with the Chasu Seifa and Tzemach Tzedek and the Bach. He's only arguing in a case where they're forcing him with Nidoy, with Shaitim. Then he says Chas v'shalom to be kaifa b'zman hazeh. But for Basin to go ahead and try and convince him, says the Pischei Tshuva, maybe he's masking if Basin try and force him on a day words. I had a court case with a guy over here, and basically he made a contract with someone. Hope he's not going to watch this. Made a contract with a guy to build me something. Okay. Sat down, negotiated with the guy for whatever it was, 2 weeks, negotiation, complicated thing, negotiation, negotiation. Then he writes me this 10-page contract, right? And he changed in the contract what we negotiated. Right? Now I came to the Torah, and I said to him, that wasn't...
Did you sign the contract?
I signed the contract.
Why'd you go to the Torah?
Because he botched up, and I said I don't want to pay the entire thing. We agreed on, let's say, 1,000 shekels a meter. We agreed on and he charged me 1,200. Like he threw it in there somewhere in small that 1,000. Okay, so come to the Torah. He was a very honest guy. I'll say in his defense, his crook, right? He said to me, he said, look, I changed the contract, and he signed it. You're right, we agreed, we negotiated. There's hundreds of emails backwards and forwards. The whole time we were talking about 1,000 shekels a meter. But then I wrote in 1,200, and he signed it. And basically was like, what? Your mom is a crook. Yeah, but you signed. That's what we agreed on. Now, Mikra, then if you sign something, it's too bad.
It's not what you agreed on.
It's not what we agreed on, but I signed after. There was agreement. If you sign, they're assuming that you signed something. The klal is you signed it means you read the agreement and you've agreed to the new conditions. Right? And it says at the bottom of the contract, this is cancelled. Any, this is...
any previous...
Yeah, any previous discussions are now cancelled. Even though we never discussed this, it was never a havamina. So Mikra then, he's totally chayav. Right? But they were trying to go to Flemish.
It's totally...
Potter. You're chayav.
He's chayav to pay me. Mikra din, I'm chayav because I signed, right? Yeah. The basin sat there, they kicked me out of the basin and said, you go outside for half an hour. I've never seen this is ridiculous.
Well, 1 second,
so we go outside for half an hour.
You haven't got to the case yet. You said he botched it.
Yeah, he botched it. He botched the job.
So 1 second. So you had timers which are legitimate.
I had legitimate tiners.
And the Bezdin agreed to that.
Bezdin agreed. He agreed to the tiners, but he said that he's got to pay me anyway because this contract says he's got, whatever the contract was, contract protected him mimon afshach, right? Even though that wasn't what we agreed.
You jumped 2 stages. The contract said if I do a job,
good.
If you're doing the job, I want you to do a job properly. I want more money, but here you got 2 things.
I'll get into the gory details. Since you've asked, I'll get into the gory details. Okay. So this was the case, right?
I'm not asking specific. I'm not trying to how.
Okay, no, it's very good. I have to actually try and remember.
He's holding it Kufalamed right now.
Cal. Kufalamed in
that's when you change you make your deal and then you change.
Yeah.
So this was the agreement. I had a guy build me a kitchen, right? Oh, yeah. So we agreed to 1,000 shekels a meter.
Right.
1,000 shekels a meter. Then he writes there, if I don't actually, you know what? I don't want to say because it might get back to him, and I don't want to speak about it.
This might go up on YouTube.
I'd rather discuss exactly the details because he might sue me for defamation. I don't know what. He'll say I got the case wrong. It was a long time ago. I don't remember exactly. But basically, So, but basically, right? I signed the contract completely against what we agreed. Right. It wasn't just to pay more. It was basically he said something like this: if his price is for basic. Whatever it was I was ordering, 1,000, and for upgraded version, it's 1,200. So he charged me for the upgraded version, even though it was the basic version. He said, but I said the upgraded version is 1,200, and you're in a contract that he's going to decide what's upgraded and what's not upgraded. Like, he threw in some line like that gave him full autonomous right to say, this is the upgraded version, I'm charging you 1,200, so I want 20% more, right?
1 second. But now you've gone to court.
So I come to Basin, and Basin say, listen.
He botched it.
I come to Basin. I wouldn't have gone to Basin if he would have done a decent job. I would have been Mavata. But he didn't do the upgraded thing that I wanted him to do. He came, that's called upgraded, right? He botched up that. Like, I wanted to upgrade something small. He botched that up, and he said, listen, but now I upgraded it, so I'm going to charge you for the upgraded version, even though you're right. Basin said he's got to redo whatever. It was a mess, right? So they said, listen, I lose because I signed the contract. This is what I agreed in writing. I signed that. But they sat there for like 45 minutes trying to convince the guy to what's it called, to be Mavata, to come to some type of Pshara. He wasn't masking B'Shim Pan and Waifen to come to Pshara.
This is his business model.
Yeah.
So now it's a mitzvah to Makasim, these Labarion.
So a guy from one of the Dayanim And the guy who was trying to be a Dayan, he was like learning the Dayanas. They told this guy, the Dayan didn't want to tell anyone who the guy was. I guess it was Lashon Hara. But this guy comes over to me as a neighbor of mine and says, remember that dinner you had with like this guy, with someone? Was it so and so? Just very curious. I'm like, I don't know if I can tell you or not. But
Is he allowed to mafalsim it? If he
I'm allowed to be mafalsim it. They weren't, I guess, allowed to be. I don't know why basically we didn't want to tell him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's basically.
And the guy was clearly a crook. He was mine there, 100%. Yeah, I changed the contract. I, you know, that wasn't what we agreed on. Change the contract. But what can I do? I signed it. That's why you have to read the contract. Even if you're sitting with a guy who's in whatever, how much of a chosh of a guy he is. This is a chosh of a guy.
Why can't you say who it is?
I tell you the truth.
I'm not saying.
Halachically.
I'm just telling you. I've heard this exact story from multiple people locally, and I already know who you're talking about.
Who am I talking about? Let's hear. You know what to say. I'll tell you the truth, it's probably more common than you think it is. That's why it's not the same person. The reason why I don't want to say it is because I actually like the guy, and I think he's improved his ways drastically.
They all said the same thing.
And I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I'm very happy privately for Schmutz, the guy say don't use him. Be careful. I'm more than happy.
This is being recorded. And this could go on YouTube.
Afterwards,
I'm more than happy to say. I'll tell you, the first time I had a similar case, you're right, I'll give you a marshal. I was learning with Rabbi Levin. Okay, Rabbi Levin, right?
From here?
He told me, no, not from here. So he told me he had a guy come to paint his house, right? He needed someone to paint his house. So he calls up neighbors and he said, you know, so-and-so neighbor, Yankel Schwartz, is he a good artist? Is he a good painter? Yeah, he's great, no problem. Okay, he called up someone else, yeah, he's great, he's fine. He painted my house. Then the guy came, he botched up the job, he took 3 weeks instead of 3 hours, you know, and then the neighbor said, you know, he did exactly the same thing to me. It's like, you shaiter, why did I call you up? You know, this is not, why am I calling you if you're telling me he's a good guy? You know, it's not Lashon Hara to tell someone is a bad pile. It's not Lashon Hara. You're doing me a mitzvah. He's like, I'm going to be your korban. I'm your korban. I've got to. I wasted thousands of shekels. You know,
not to speak Lashon Hara.
Right. I'm not an expert on Lashon Hara, but definitely people.
Lashon Hara l'toeles.
Right.
You ask a specific person. You have to
So I guess so. Pshat is like this.
Some talk about the guy.
So the Chofetz Chaim says you can only speak Lashon Hara l'toeles if you don't hate the guy. Probably they hated him so much, they're like, I can't speak about him. It's too, you know, I can't get that thing.
He can't.
I asked many Rabbanim the Shaila. I said, I don't understand. The Chofetz said, please ask your Rabbanim and find out an answer for this, right? Someone ruins your job, whatever it is, right? You have a wedding. I know a guy. He made a chasna in a hall. The guy ruined everything. He told him everything was going to be beautiful. He paid top dollar, hottest day of the year, and the air conditioners weren't on. He didn't have the air conditioners working. He knew beforehand. He thought he'd get it done. He ruined the wedding. He trashed his chasna. He trashed his simcha. Everyone was sitting there. People came for 10 minutes like, EF hottest day of the year. It wasn't a wedding. It was actually a pigeon at bed. Middle of the day, boiling hot, right? Okay. So, is he a mitzvah now to go ahead and tell the whole world, don't use this guy, he's mamish from Meshugana, right? So the Chofetz Chaim says you have to have a few klalim.
Oh.
You can't exaggerate. Intention can't be to be muzik him. You can't hate him. It's got to be l'tiyalis. But I hate the guy. What am I supposed to do? He ruined my way. Like, what am I supposed to do? I hate the guy. Well, I can't tell anyone now
But 1 second.
because I hate him.
No, but if someone goes up to you and says, "Should I hire this guy?"
See, if
And
you,
he said,
if
well,
you-
he did remember that pigeon at bed.
he's very machmir. Look, a lot of Rishayim totally argue with the Chofetz Chaim over here. But his klal is you can't hate him. You
So
can't.
give yourself a minute to be like, I don't hate him. Say
You
what
can't.
have to say,
You
and
can't
then
hate him.
go
You
back
can't.
and hate him
No, you can't hate him. You can't have intention to be. You can't have intention to be muzik him.
Why-
I want to run his
can't be
business.
personal.
One
Can't be
second.
personal. Of course, it's personal
Why didn't the air conditioning work?
because he didn't have it put in installed on time.
So that's not. She's a pesher. Yeah, I mean, not that he forgot or.
No, it wasn't like it was a leak all of a sudden. It was he didn't have it installed.
There's a problem with that because you hate the guy. But let's say I have a kid. I want to put in a new kitchen, right? And you hate this guy. He screwed you over. You know he screwed you over. You
Yeah.
went to a base din for it, right? I'm saying, hey, should I use this?
Yeah.
Should I use him?
Yeah.
We're friends.
Yeah.
What are you
Right.
gonna say?
Right, exactly. So I don't know what to tell you. The klalim of
You
the
can say, listen,
the Chofetz Chaim
I
is
can't
very
talk about
strict.
that guy.
The Chofetz Chaim is very strict klalim. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know the answer.
Maybe you just say,
One thing is to talk about the guy on the video that's not shaykh to anyone, no one here is doing the kitchen. If someone goes up to you and asks you, hey, I'm getting my kitchen done, which of these two guys do you use? And then you can say, because it's not then it is
But let's say,
flawless.
I want to ruin his business. So I'm not allowed to do it. I'm not allowed to say. And the Chavetz Chaim L'chaim is coming from a place like this, saying, listen, you want to ruin this guy's business. I don't really care about helping you, right? I'm more interested now in trashing this guy's business, right? To venting. So we can't trust your objectivity. You're going to exaggerate. The truth is, the guy did a fantastic job. Besides for the fact that he ripped me off slightly, he was still cheaper than most of other people I would have taken. There was tons of benefits I had from using. He designed a much better kitchen than the other guy. Like, come with that, I'm bashing him, and he wasn't like the biggest tzaddik. He still was fantastic compared to other options. So, like, you know.
but you don't know that.
I do know. That I do.
Because you focus on the negative. 95% of it was positive.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't be objective because I want 100%.
One
Sleep
second.
with some Ollie.
This is very unfair, the whole story.
Not only that, but
You
in the
sold the
basement,
story backwards.
They were trying to
You
get
should have
him
said
to
it
be
forward.
like, hey,
You did a
good
marvelous
He's
job,
like, nah,
but.
nah.
Say that.
No, he didn't do a marvelous job, but look, I didn't want to get. It's very, very complicated case. Basically, half the story was that he said he's going to give me product X, then he subcontracted out to somebody else to do the doors for my kitchen. I'll tell you, because I've got you so far into this rabbit hole, we'll go there. So he told me for upgraded kitchen, he's going to charge me more, right? If I want to upgrade the doors to my kitchen. Okay, if I do upgrade the doors, when we sign the contract,
Upgrading means they should fit. That's really an upgrade.
then he tells me,
That's deluxe.
So then he tells me, listen, you want these doors? So this is where you're going to go. You're going to go to that guy over there. He'll make you the doors. I don't do upgraded doors. You go to him. So I went to that guy. The guy botched up the doors. I had to redo the whole thing. And that was half the cost of the entire kitchen was doing the doors. But now he says, you upgraded the doors. I want another 2,000 shekels a meter.
He didn't do it.
Right? I'm going to be able to do the doors. You made me go there and the doors were trashed. So he said, well, look, you signed this contract, which I didn't know he's going to put in the contract. If he upgrades the doors, I've got to pay more. He wrote in the contract, you upgrade anything, you're paying another 2,000 shekels a meter. So this was a Sforim basin. They said to him, why would he pay more if you didn't do the doors? So he said, it's very simple. If he's taking the basic, he's getting the average price. Once he upgrades it, he's getting the balabas price of 1,200 shekels a meter. They're like, what? Your mama's a crook. Unbelievable, right? So they were like trying to convince him, you don't understand how crumb you are, like what have you done? He said, listen, that's what it says. If he gets anything upgraded.
This Friday we had somebody in my house.
So I just want to say in defense, the guy who botched up my kitchen doors, it wasn't his fault they were botched up, it was half the other guy's fault, right? He redid them free of charge. This Chiloni guy in the Moshav over here, he is like, listen, I feel really bad for you. It was like 10,000 or 12,000 shekels, just the doors, he redid them free of charge.
Somebody
There you go.
Somebody came to the house on Friday. My wife asked him to do a job. He's our neighbour. So my wife said, we don't want to pay you because you're a neighbour. We want to pay you the going rate. As you're saying.
Yeah,
Because otherwise you do it for 100 shekels and you're spending hours and hours and hours.
yeah.
That you can agree to. Whether he agrees to get that kind of money is up to him.
So I paid Balabatish prices for my kitchen. Now you all know. Now you all know the secret.
But you use Meiser money, listen.
What type of market shit is Balabatish?
Okay, this is before I learned any time Rabani stuff, that's for sure. Says the Heilige, where are we up to? We finished the Pesach Shuvah.
Don't get
Gimel.
any work done by anybody.
Gimel. We'll start Gimel. Mutter, lebeistin, levat b'momen yisaymen, chutz min adin, k'tei lashkitan mimmerivais.
Which
Yud Beis, Sif Gimel. Mutter lebeistin, levat b'momen yisaymen. Beistin can be mevat b'momen yisaymen. Yisaymen have a fight over land, over business. They're little kids, they can't fight for themselves. Basically, Mivata in the moment say, you know what? Pay up, lose. In order to hashkas merivas.
The other person, not them.
No, they can be Mivata in the moment of Yisayimim.
Amongst it.
They can make the Yisayimim lose
How can
in
that
order
be?
to be mashket merivas. In order that they shouldn't have a fight. Because they're Yisayimim, they can't fight. Who's going to fight for them? You're going to hire some guy's going to represent them for 10 years at a based in. fight for them? They're not going to fight. So they're not going to say be mavater everything. They're not stupid. They're not saying, okay, some guy wants your house, give it to the guy, it should be a fight. But they can say to the Yisayimim, you know what? Give him 10,000 shekels to shut the guy up.
Why can't you move out on the fellow who's taking him to court?
Because he's got a pair. He has a pair. They don't have a pair. There's no one to fight for them. So they're allowed to be mavater momin Yisayimim, where's Nageya, in order to calm the situation down. Right?
That's a cooler.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So take a look in the Shach, Simon Zion. The Shai based on Lasis Pshara, Gam Bekaim Kosovo Bach, the Lataisis Ein Shai Lasis Pshara. Taisis says you can't do Pshara. V'yesh Lahachmu Kedivreim. Vein Dvar B'chaim. So Lefi Taisis, you can't, basically can't do Pshara.
Is this a show with the assignment?
Yeah. Mutter Levata Mom Yisayim means
One second.
it means a Pshara. It means a Pshara. Levata Mom means they can, because normally if you do Pshara,
The Zion is not here. The Zion is on base, not on Gimel. Sorry. The Zion is on base. You get Careful.
Rishai Beis Lasis Pshara, sorry, maybe you're right, sorry.
Sorry,
Yeah, you're right, you're
I
right.
apologize.
So where's the voice over here?
Ches.
Tess.
Ches.
Okay, we're not going to see this shach over here. Gimel in the Piskei Tshuva.
The Bezin Levata.
Yeah, lebeis and levater. I'm b'tshuvas chasam sefer. Shekas duad in apotropos. It's not just a din and base thing. If you're the ombudsman for these Yisayimim, right? You're the custodian. You can also be muvater in the Mamoinam.
Oh,
L'tevosam. You could be muvater in their mammon, but not l'teva someone else, for them. To make a pshara, so they can function. They came before lahedya b'tshuvas rashba, de'en lechalek. There's no difference between a based in and an apotropos. Geen kosa b'tshuvas ralbach, or gevayim b'tshuvas chacham tzvi, b'seifa b'tshuvas anisof, eish kosov, ein shomar ralbach, siman nizga, shepikbek b'dovar. The ralbach isn't so happy about an apotropos being mevater. Ach, chacham tzvi, kosov within the shel sham, gamar ralbach moida. So what's the difference? If you're trying to take money away from Yisayimim, then there's a big difference if you're trying to take moment away from Yisayimim of the moment of being Mavater in someone else's moment. So what's he talking about? Mutter Levater b'moment Yisayimim. Daf shawita bal chav Levater mishalachai v'esh lefakbek im roshus b'yad ha'b'tshobas lefrei mishal Yisayimim. Maybe the Yisayimim, when they grow up, they're going to find the receipt, they're going to go through the safe, they're going to go through all the documents of the parents, and they're going to find out this guy owes them money.
This has to be an apotropos. That's the point about based in.
Well, who else is an apotropos? I guess only...
If appointed apotropos,
Yeah.
then apotropos would be...
He's like a shliach of the father. Oh. Aber benimm dann hu ipcha, she'yisayimim reising leiti mammon miyad acherim. So that if the Yisayimim trying to get money out from somebody else, then you can be mevater in order to keep half of it, pay half of it, because they're not going to get the money later on. But to get money, take money from the Yisayimim, that's more complicated. That he doesn't like.
The Shulchan Aruch is quite clear that Petrufas is only there for the benefit of the Yisayim.
Right.
He hasn't got a right to do something which could.
Not for their favor.
Yeah.
So when can you be... Okay. Yeah.
Afterwards.
And you see, but there's an African minute if it's lahitzi lahachzik by an apotropos. Daled. Yesh koyach biyad basin. You've got Daled. Turn the page. Turn the page. I think it's on the other side. Turn it in both directions. Turn it. Do I have this? Do you have this?
It's right here.
You have it. Okay. Yesh koyach biyad basin ligza lahachrim shediskayim apshara. Basin has a koyach to do. Put someone in cherem in order to keep the pshara. kishiyigdulu. You say we can't go ahead and be moicha when they grow up. Dalet.
It's not here.
Yeah. Have you? Hey. Next one. Hey.
Got anything? You've not got any?
You don't have it.
Just play me. Nope.
Hey. Yesh koyach l'dayan las din ke'ein apshara. Basically, do a din like a pshara, but makom she'ein adava yachal isbarer. When Basin can't find out who's right, who's wrong, they haven't got the resources or they don't have the aidim to find out who's correct. Basin can't say when we can't paskin, take a hike. We don't know. Come back a different day. Basin's got a paskin. Right?
Can they?
So what's shot losses din?
Din ke'em pshara?
No, if they don't know, if they don't have all the details, how could they pass it?
So it's like a pshara. They can do something that's ke'ein a pshara.
Well, one thing, what happens tomorrow? Tomorrow you come along with different riders, and he comes along with different things, which wasn't there at the Shas to did. Can you?
So you can come back off it. We're going to see. We're going to see the din. What happens if you got your rice? It depends. If Basin asks you, do you have rice? You said no. If Basin didn't ask you, do you have
No,
rice?
what I'm saying is the Bezdin said we don't know, and therefore we have to
Yeah.
assess. But obviously, it's only based on the knowledge that we have.
Oh, right. Vav. We're really flying through it today. Vav. Actually, we can take a look in. Have you got the Nesivas Mishpah? It's printed out for you. It's Daled. Ligzol Hachrim, basically the Xeris and Charomas. Says in the Nesivas Mishpah, it's Daled. Ligzol Hachrim. Vim lo yachrim. He's talking about how the Yisayimim basically do a Charomim and this with the Yisayimim. Vim lo yachrim. As a also pesha letevas Yisayimim. Shadami lemekach memkar. Kagoyin shemispashim bad shavua and balchay v'kiyetza. If they do some type of pshara, then they can't go ahead when they're older and complain about it when they grow up. So if they didn't do a cherem, if they stop and say, you know what, you pay him just to keep quiet, they make a pshara in order they shouldn't go to base to Arkayis, to court, Goyish court. Then when they grow older, the Yisayim could go back to base then and get like a rejudgment over here. So Vav. Misha Taivin I say Momashu Muchzik by. Someone asks for the moment he's muchzik in. Someone comes and says, your uncle, you owe me $100, right? Also, levakesh stodim lishtamet, gedei shisrat zahal elastim pshara, v'im choloy al hashad. This is a very important simon. Someone's demanding money from you,
Genuine.
and you're muchzik. So you can't go ahead and do shtick and play games and lie and cheat and swindle, right? In order to get him off your back. In order that he should want to do pshara with you, and he should meichel the rest.
He has the money.
He has the money. Vim over says Ramav. Vim over va'asa. If he did it, if you did that, any age they shemai much less shalai. Let's say you owe him some money. He asks you for more. You owe the guy money, right? He says to you, "You owe me $1,000. You did this to me. You did that to me. I've got witnesses. Let's make a pshara pay you 50, not 100." The guy says, "Okay, you got witnesses. Here, take 50. Fine, give me the 50." So even though he's masking to take 50, let's say Shemayim, you still owe me the other 50. Even though he was masking.
Yeah, but you said it was shtick.
Sorry, someone says you owe him $100, and you do owe him $100.
Oh, you do?
You do. So you can't, if you owe him $100, you can't, what's the word, Yashins? You can't do tzdodim l'shtamim, man. You can't say, listen, I'll pay you in 50 years' time. You got to be honest with the guy, pay him up. If you get it, if you force his hand into a pshara, that he should be moichel you, it's like a mechila b'tos. You still owe him the money, really. He doesn't know. You can't take the money from him based on because you're moichel. If you did it anyways, the shemai mashil shalai. It could be the mechaber argues is you are a part of it in shemaim.
But why?
We'll see tomorrow. Adkan.
Well, why are you potter?
Why you potter? Lefi the mechaber?
Because he agreed.
He agreed. He said, "Okay, I'm
Yeah,
moichel."
but you said he drained. Your words were he drained.
You had started him. You played games with
Oh,
him.
you had started.
Look, the Ramas, I'm not sure if the Mechaber argues. I mean, he's not discussing it. Okay, hopefully we'll get Sfarim tomorrow and make life a lot easier.